Hello, welcome to Master Powercast. A little bit of a bonus this go around. Not only are you going to get a mini comic review, you're also going to get a Filmation episode review. And the reason for that being is because the mini comic was spawned from an episode of Filmation, which was spawned from an episode of Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle. The episode Tarzan and the City of Gold is the reason kind of that these things exist in the first place. So we're going to be talking about the mini comic Slave City and the Filmation episode Tale of Two Cities. We're actually going to go in reverse order because Tyler wanted to do it this way. We're going to do mini comic first. So a kick-ass cover. We have Lodar on the front. Got He-Man by the hair.
I have wanted to use those chains in like a future commission with Kevin. I thought about using those chains with He-Man chained up like in as an homage to like a Frank Frazetta painting with a giant snake and a dungeon of Snake Mountain or something like that. I've always wanted to reuse those massive manacles that He-Man or that Larry has illustrated around the neck and around it's one of those things too that Larry and I pointed out before. Everything takes place in front of Castle Grayskull. Like this setup here. To have He-Man chained to the ground in front of Castle Grayskull, logically makes no sense for the story you're going to be getting.
Right.
But it's one of those mandates, I'm sure, that was told to Larry, like, okay, make sure our prime playset is always featured on these covers. Even if it has no relation to the story. And I think that's what always stuck out to me as a kid, is that everything in so many of the mini comics that I got as a kid, Castle Grayskull was right there in the background and always left such an impression on me that, whatever happens, it's got to be in front of Castle Grayskull. Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see a lot of the same story beats going on between the two as we go through both of these. Obviously, of course, the mini comic being the mini comic, a shorter, condensed version of that with characters cut out and things switched around just a tad.
But more action. More fisticuffs. Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll see it too when we go through Tale of Two Cities, that it's the way that plays out, and you see how that goes in there and be like, oh, okay, I see why they wanted to take this and turn it into a mini comic. It's a brilliant idea. I'm surprised that didn't happen a little more often.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because only a few scripts were, and I don't know how they decided okay, this would make a good one, because they were given several mini comics per year. Why obviously I'm sure if people want to create their own idea for a story, then there's no reason to do it, no harm in doing that, of course. But it's fascinating to picture other episodes of Filmation being turned into mini comics with alterations to them. Mm-hmm. Especially with this cast, with Rhea and Garn, they're just names. He-Man fights this guy, He-Man saves this girl, and then Larry's like, what do they look like? We don't have any idea. Like, can I make them Native American? Sure. And same thing with Prince Daikon and Geldor and Secret Layer of Life. I'll make them black. Mm-hmm. And like Prince Leon in Double-Edged Sword, I'll make him Asian. And his grandfather, I'll make him Asian too. I like that, and stop beating you over the head with like, look what we're doing here. Like, no, they're people. And we're just being diverse organically. Yeah. And I just I didn't have this mini comic as a kid. None of the characters that I remember getting had this, but I'm so familiar with it. Maybe it's just because I've looked at it for so long, and early days of He-Man.org, but it is a stunning mini comic. Not to spoil my views on this mini comic, but I mean, come on. If you're listening to this and you don't like this, well, get the fuck out of here.
So Prince Adam and Cringer are enjoying an outing in the Evergreen Forest, and all of a sudden, these kobolds have a captive. Quick, and what you're going to find here is between the kobolds and then the Gargan warriors. Mm-hmm. I like both designs.
I do too. I like them both a lot.
If you had to pick one over the other, because I kind of want to do this as we're going through the mini comic and covering the episode. So a lot of the similarities.
Well, all right. One I'll say is I like this version of Rhea over Filmation, just from a visual standpoint.
Well, isn't this Princess Rana? Isn't she?
Excuse me.
Princess
yeah,
Rana
yeah. Well, it's the rate.
But look, they're both princesses, so you
Yeah.
prefer this princess over who we
Yeah,
get today.
I a Native American princess, like I'm there. I just she's a very beautifully drawn woman. Love her outfits,
Mhm.
and Princess Rhea and Taylor Two Cities. There's nothing wrong with her at all.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just going by, and it's the same character. I
Yeah.
just prefer this visual.
Well, with the kobolds and the Gargan warriors, which one do you like better?
God,
Yeah, it's kind of a tough.
the kobolds look more vicious and more menacing. The kobolds remind me a lot of the palace guards from Black Star, like the more bird-like, humanoid bird-like guys. I fuck, because I like them a lot. Like they look. There's a shot. We'll get to it later on in Tale of Two Cities where the bushes pan back and you see a whole horde of Gargon warriors like waiting to ambush and capture He-Man. Like, oh, they're so menacing looking. Oh, but Larry Houston's design on these kobolds is, yeah,
I'm gonna go with these guys.
yeah,
That's for me.
I'm gonna give them the edge. Like looking at the one here at the bottom here, like the profile of him right there, like you get that elongated head. It's
Mhm.
kind of reminds me of like Azrog, like the way Azrog's head is kind of like not a cone head, but it's
It comes enough to a point, sort of.
yeah, the rear of the skull is a point like that, and then this kind of reptilian kind of spine, emerging from their skin like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's no slight against the Gargons, but the kobolds here, I'm going to give them the slight edge on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And you see down here, yell pretty one, no one to help you. We take to Targa. So Targa is a location that's in both of these. So they both have that going for them. Adam uses the power, turns into He-Man, and also too with these kobolds, I like their very simplistic, their very simple dialect of how they talk.
Yeah, it's kind
Simple,
of a very
simple word, very barbaric.
yeah.
Yeah, we're not. There's no us or thes as much. It's just destroy, kill, snarl.
It's very very simplistic, broken dialogue, but
Mhm.
they do speak English well. And Larry's poses of He-Man, like going into battle, like slashing the sword, his poses and angles are like this should be taught in art classes because of just how you're drawing He-Man going in, like him like lunging forward with his arms out and Battle Cat charging like right next to him, like that. That's the He-Man is like, I'm here to take care of fucking business. Like there is nothing jovial about his portrayal of He-Man. I mean, of course, there really isn't in any of the mini comic portrayals either. It's a prime example. Like this is how this character should always be portrayed and illustrated.
Mm-hmm. The princess is saying here, if you'd not come along, I would have become a slave. At this point, He-Man saying slavery here on Eternia, and then asking who Lodar is. So Lodar is an evil warrior who's enslaved my people. I'm the Princess Rana of Targa and a danger to Lodar. So
yeah, she is not from Operon. She is from the main city, Targa.
Yep. And then we have our scenario here where rain takes over. The river has become too high that they can't go across it. So He-Man's saying we'll just have to make
And
a
all
bridge.
of this looks amazing. Like the coloring and the inking on Larry's work, emphasizing how intense the rainstorm is as he's ripping the tree out of the ground, which Filmation He-Man, I don't think would have done that, but that's the cool thing about He-Man in the mini comics, that he's not thinking, so heavily in like environmental
Yeah, it's not so much the Boy
issues.
Scout. He's not the Boy Scout, as much of a Boy Scout in
Yeah,
the
there's a little bit more leeway in terms of like he's punching the shit out of people. He's slashing. There's a lot more liberties taken in the most positive way, because Filmation was very limited with what they could do in terms of like without having parents pissing ammonia and picketing outside their studio over like you're promoting witchcraft and devil worship.
Yeah, parents are going to make as big of a deal out of mini comics as they would a cartoon.
But oddly enough, this mini comic did piss off parents because of the cover.
I can see that. It is very, for a little kid to see that, sure, but at the same time, my mentality with that stuff, I know my dad would not have
My
cared at
parents wouldn't
all.
have either. They're not. If it was He-Man, I believe there's nothing they were questioning or sitting there. I mean, they just knew it made me happy, and they're
Yeah.
getting tired of hearing the music over and over again every Saturday.
So in this bottom panel on this page, as he's ripping the tree up, you don't really get that much of an understanding of just how fucking big this tree is. And you go to the next page, like, that is a big ass fucking tree.
I mean, yeah, the scale of how small they are, and
Yeah.
I mean that's something out of a redwood forest tree. I mean, it's unworldly how massive that tree is.
Yeah. So as it thuds down, this boulder comes down and hits He-Man in the back. And then
Off the log, yep.
Yep. And then as he's down and out, the kobolds pick him up and take him with them. So at this point, Princess Rana hops on Battle Cat, and we gotta go help him out. And I think, how do you feel about this, that they're tossing him into the back of, like, I guess this kind of makes sense because you have the slaves pulling that
Slaves
too,
pulling it, like,
yeah.
It's a very, like, kind of earthly wagon, but it's still primitive because it is made out of wood and it's being pulled by slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. So it's a familiar looking wagon, sure. Like, it looks like something out of, like, old Western days, out of logs and things like that with these big ass wagon wheels. But I don't feel like it's completely, like, out of place. I almost feel like a war wagon or a slave wagon in Massachusetts would be more made out of metal.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Yeah. I could see, having a little bit more of a futuristic touch to it.
Yeah.
Just a tad. But as He-Man's being loaded up into that, the princess and Battle Cat are also captured in this little net device, which that's kind of cool. They have this little gun that's got like 4 rockets attached to it.
This barrel that has the 4 missile launchers on there and expands like that. And that shot of the Cobalt like approaching Reyna is just, God, I'd love to see more use of those guys, dude. It's a really underutilized design. I feel like again, there's so much in these mini comics from this particular era that I'm like, why do we need to why do people feel like they got to make up new shit? Mm-hmm. There's so much stuff that's already established. It's just kind of like there. You could explore with it. You could expand upon that. You could reuse that over and over again. You can make this a fierce tribe of creatures that just run around plundering villages because they're primitive, monsters, and they're out for survival of their own, but they don't mind taking and hurting others to just get food or, women, or something like that,
Women. It always circles back to that. Here we are finally introduced.
Well, hey, He-Man is saving a hot girl in this, so
that is true. Now we're introduced to this version of Garn. So he's saying here, this person that Lodar's Fells Beast dragged in, and you get, I don't know, I can't remember. So this is something not only that we get here, we're going to get in Tale of Two Cities. But they have different ways of how the amnesia is cured, even though it's the same. It's the same. It's a knock to the head, but in different ways.
Yeah. And seeing that there's other prisoners, and these are very decrepit looking people.
Yeah, that guy
to the side there.
This guy in the middle has definitely been through it.
Yeah, almost like, I know the green is there just probably for color break.
Yeah,
not to imply that it could be like almost zombified prisoners at that point, but just seeing like that Garn too, like, is such a great visual. I had Kevin draw him in a group illustration for me too, like underused characters, but he did a phenomenal job of drawing Garn, and he's someone I had an idea for, like, in a future commission that I almost had Kevin do this last go around with him and Prince Dacon, since they're both Larry Houston originally designed characters, and having them used in further adventures with He-Man.
That would be, yep. Once again, it goes back to what you were saying. The lore is there. The characters are there. You could take these characters and create more stories with them. But kobolds come in, says Lodar want Garn, and the new one, So they're saying bow before Lodar. I love that you get this little shit you don't know. I mean, obviously you see what he looks like on the cover, but I honestly would have preferred not having him on the cover. So when you get to here and you see like him,
who is this man in the shadows, and then
yep, and then you get the full reveal here, and I mean it's badass and it's awesome that he got a release in the classics line. I think he got released in the Origins line as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I'm
maybe
sure it was.
I don't know. That's something I didn't quite look up exactly, but
and I'm like, well, what if it did or not? It wouldn't be on par with what the Horseman did with the Lodar we got in classics. So, because I know I got the reputation for shitting on Origins, and some people just don't like that. So I'm going to spare you all that.
But He-Man says here in his amnesia state, I bow to no one, especially anyone like you. And then Lodar says, let us hope you are as brave as your words and feel my magic. So that's it there. And He-Man dodges out of the way. But I like just the fact that his magic blast from each of his fingers creates that big of an impact. So here we are. We are in the arena. This shall be my wish. Garn and the stranger will fight in the arena of death. Victor will go free, and I love the fact that they refer to it to the arena as the arena of death.
Yeah.
Really
emphasizing, yes, we're not fucking around here, kids.
Yep.
This is some serious shit, and this is one of the most beautiful pages in the entire book.
It's a good way to in such a short span with these mini comics. This is an excellent way to show the battle without having to spend so much real estate on it.
Yeah, and I wish they had done this in more comics, because I feel like most of the ones that Larry did were very fight heavy, and Clash of Arms was done to perfection. I still think you probably could have done maybe a page like this where you get to see like the fight with Fisto and Jitsu is so short. It's essentially just 2 panels. I would love to have seen one page devoted to Fisto and Jitsu battling out just like this.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of small little spurts of fights of like different poses. My favorite was what He-Man slashing at Garn and Garn leaping out of the way out of it at the bottom there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite. I just think that because I love the swirling, like the 180 spin.
The slash of the
It
to
just
show the motion of how he swung the sword around. Yeah,
it's such a dynamic pose, and then Garn, like such a big guy leaping, like he's so agile and so big.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time there, and it gets a lot across that these guys are having a very grueling fight.
Yeah, and I do even though Passport, when you see that word, the terminology here probably doesn't translate as good, but I still like him saying you're my passport to freedom.
Well, I could totally see that as being not how we use it in our language.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. I just feel like that was something that they did pretty good for the most part. Like, I was never too big a fan of like how they had He-Man speaking like out of Thor comics, like in some of the early mini comics, and even in the mini series, which they're all great. I think when I first read those, I was like, I'm not too big on this whole like dost thou like.
Yeah,
I'm like no, not here.
Yeah, it kind of it's not hard to read, but it doesn't
flow.
It doesn't flow in my mind, much like when I'm reading it. I'm like, I don't like the flow of it.
Because even reading Thor comics, this is how Asgardians talk. So I'm rolling with it. Is it great? No, It's not my preference. But even when Thor's with like Cap or Spider-Man or talking to Daredevil, like that's how he talks.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting there like, no, and I'm like that, and that's what makes Thor even more unique, is that not only is he's a an Asgardian, but he speaks English, just very different English, and I'm cool with it. But I'm like, I just I'm sure that was some influence too, because this is like a sword and sorcery. They're going to speak of a how minstrels will sing tales and shit like that. I'm like, you can have touches of that. It's just not my preference with He-Man.
Right. But Garn whacks He-Man in the face with his mace, and this is what brings him back. I am He-Man. Which, and we'll get to this also when we're talking Tale of Two Cities. It's I guess that's a great way, a storytelling device to make it to where he's not aware of how strong he is and who he is because of
Mm-hmm.
it. So then when he comes to, then you get this.
He's not going to pull any punches.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah, knocks the fuck out of him, turns him
which
inside
is
out.
another great looking shot of just, you know, Larry was great at that, of those dynamic punching poses.
It's very reminiscent of the one with He-Man punching Skeletor.
Oh yeah, and Rock People to the Rescue. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. So he's knocked him on his ass. Enough fighting, Gar, and you will have your freedom. So he's saying, I've won, and I'm going to give you your freedom. There'll be no bloodshed here today, Lodar.
After Lodar tells him he's got the right to kill him with the thumb down, like going full on Roman Empire here.
Yep. And then He-Man just jumps up there and they start punching each other.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. Like, and get another brilliant way to expand the fight sequence here.
Mm-hmm.
Just 4 gloriously drawn panels of intense punches and kicks.
Yep. Don't have to have any other dialogue. Just show the slam bam, zonks, and cracks.
God, it makes me want to, like, hey Kevin, let's bring Lodar back.
Do it
on a cover.
Do it.
Or the Cobalts.
Yeah.
Like, have He-Man, like, like just taking on just nothing but the Cobalts, saving a hot girl, of course. And yeah. Oh my God.
Picks him up, just tosses him into all those guys.
All the Cobalts, yeah.
Yeah, as they're just standing there. Yeah. At this point, Lodar zaps some magic. And then He-Man just deflects it with the sword right back at him. So
yeah, and just fries Lodar on the spot. He's done. He's done.
Yeah.
And
as all the prisoners are saying, "Hooray! Yay! Hail He-Man!" And then all of a sudden, Battle Cat's back. Got to be out of that dungeon, and she's saying here, He-Man, what shall we do with Lodar? We'll put him where he can't hurt anyone anymore, underground with his friends, the Kobolds. So.
Which when he panics and says, "No, I have to be outside. I have to be, with the sun and the moon," and kind of makes you wonder, like, how that all stems. Like, is it, I have no magic with that, so obviously makes you wonder, like, okay, his sorcery it comes from natural elements like that, at nighttime and during the day. But does it enhance his strength? Is he completely help, or is he one of those guys too that has become so reliant on magic that he becomes frightened at the idea that something he takes great pride in having a lot of control over, and now it's taken away from him, like his ego is completely just cut in half?
You could go either way with that if you wanted to. You can go that angle, or really go to all of that is just super dependent on that, and he has to have it. There's no, like, he gets a charge from it and he's able to maintain some of it when he's not outside. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'd like to think, one or two, like, a character that looks that formidable. I mean, just the look, the mask, like it's not like he shrinks down or anything. Like, he's maintaining this very formidable size. So he's a big guy already. And, with a lot of these characters too, they don't get their own way. They become very, extremely insecure, where they just, oh my God, I can't do this. And, which typical of evil assholes. But it just kind of makes you wonder, like, digging a little bit deep about that. That's what's so fun about this stuff. You get these little bits of exposition and dialogue that are just there to kind of fill in a little gap here. They're not anything of significance, but just to play up that aspect of, like, you're going to bring that character back and explain. But then again, too, that's when you get into Scott Knowles territory. You start
you have to find that good balance of not giving an origin
you need to have
story for everybody,
a basic reason of logic, and then leave it at that. Don't go into, like, this.
It's fun to talk about and think about here, but I think trying to implement that into a future story and like explaining more is just, it would be too much.
Yeah, because I almost think, like, how Monstar, like, when he sees the Moonstar fuck God, Moon Star of Limbo. His castle's at Brimstar. But the Moon Star is what turns him into like the big, metallic, Monstar version, which he's already fucked up looking enough as it is. You're like, dude, what? You don't need anything else. As a kid, he was more frightening to me before he turned into, Monstar.
Mm-hmm.
Monstar turns into Monstar. But yeah, I just didn't mean to go off on a tangent like that. But it would be fun to kind of explore like that, like what that character could be. Again, using Garn, using Rhaena, and bringing back Laura. Not in the same story, but these are characters you could always go back and revisit. And as they're asking He-Man, won't you stay with us? And he says, no, Battle Cat and I will return to visit, but we're off for home. And it's like Rhaena's left with like, okay, she's in charge now. Like you don't get that. There's no notion of a father or a king and queen.
Mm-hmm.
Over Target. It's like she is the one. And like, is Garn going to become her bodyguard, her lover, husband?
Yeah.
Something on the side. But I think the visual right there of him standing behind her.
I see it more as like that bodyguard.
Yeah, I like that idea that he is, because I like to think too that they're all part of the same kingdom, and Lodar like saw something in him, like I'm gonna either make you one of my own warriors, or you'll amuse me in the arena, or something like that. Obviously, where he's fought, many times, and if you beat this newcomer, you can go free, kind of thing. But where the fuck was I going with this? But I would like to think too that Garn would be used in other ventures with He-Man. As like a new ally.
I think Tyler's starting to power down a little bit because it is starting to get later in the night as we are recording this, because him and I talked for so long before we even hit the record button that I think Tyler's just starting to get the brain fog.
I'll just have those moments where
he's ready to power down and fall asleep. I think.
Yeah, I'm having my Frank Drebin moments here, but I just look at all this. I'm like, God, there's just so much potential, like so much fun, like to just open up this box of characters and just go and explore and do more stuff with them. And I like to think too, man, all these pretty women showing up, man. Like, He-Man's gonna have like a nice run of.
He's got to fuck somebody, right?
Oh, I just feel like he would go and spend the weekend with Rhaena, that kind of thing, and just amongst other women, like he'll get to Tila someday when she stops being such a bitch, But until then, all these lovely young ladies are like they're just swooning over him. Like, why would you?
I don't think I see it as he doesn't have time for it. There's no. He barely has time to rest and hang out and have a nice peaceful day.
It makes time to probably in a roundabout way bang and beaver around the royal palace and stuff like that too, but it's a hero's job. I mean, we say that with most superheroes too. They don't have a lot of downtime. They break dates all the time.
Yeah.
Batman sees Bruce Wayne says the backstone. Fuck, I gotta call off this date with a really hot chick. Spider-Man's got to break dates too.
I just don't see him having enough time to do such things. But moving on to A Tale of Two Cities, the 31st episode of He-Man and the Master Universe, directed by Marsh Lamore.
This was an episode I was not a fan of as a kid. I think I rented the VHS tape one time, and I was just like,
why is that? That's so weird.
Again, this was one of those episodes I did not appreciate till I got much older, because I was so fixated on the majority of the episodes. If Skeletor was not the prime villain, outside of Azrog and Spider showing up, the Sleepers Awaken, and Chakotay, it was I was kind of like dismissive often of episodes where Skeletor was not the antagonist of the show. And I don't know how I felt that those episodes I just mentioned, those were fine. Skeletor was not in those. And I was taken with those characters, but I just had this very, very narrow-minded mindset about other episodes, and this tape too came with 2 episodes, and Skeletor was not the villain in either one of them. So it was like, oh, I'm not gonna rent that tape again. And when I got older, I'm like, oh my god, like man, this is one of the most highly underrated episodes and it could be said about a lot of episodes.
Oh yeah,
This episode is, and I'm sure we're going to be let down by James's review of this.
I have that bookmarked after we get through this.
I can't wait to see how little a score he gives this one.
But much like Slave City, we're starting off. We have Adam Cringer hanging out, having a relax, having some downtime, as I said, but there's no rest for him here.
And we'll realize too, and I love this jungle setup here, and that we're going to realize that these guys are really far away from the Eternian Palace. Like, as we get deeper into the story, we realize just how far away they are, from the royal palace by things people are going to be saying to He-Man soon enough. But they realize this beautiful girl is in danger from these awesome looking Gargons.
Which hail.
That was something when I first was like, what is that? Just Linda Gary's take. It's just with the way she's kind of dancing underneath the net. It's just Linda Gary's take in that bit of animation where it looks like she's breakdancing underneath the net as opposed to like trying to break out of it,
Yeah. And then I love this too. That we break away from traditional transformation sequence to have Cringer saying, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah, which from time to time is not bad. It gets there. It is.
Yeah, there's just hail, and we get our look at the Gargan warriors, which they look badass, but as I said, got to go with Kobolds.
Yeah, but I wonderful Filmation creation.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, that's another thing. Kevin, get on the shit here right now. Just
because you look at this aspect of it, some of them don't have like the wings
and you don't know if they can or not. Is it more of a protective shield on their back, or are we supposed to kind of believe that they're used to fly?
Also, too, let me kind of go back.
Because they're flying on gliders. They're not.
Yeah, and part of me was thinking if I got a better look at it, but those are rounded. So part of me was thinking maybe that on their back is what they use for their glider, but that's not the case.
Yeah. Because two of the Gargons are not wearing anything.
Yeah.
On their back. So I just kind of feel like they're just bird men and not actually like bird people who can fly, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they just look really, really cool.
And He-Man, of course, here to the rescue. Beats him up, tosses him in the pit. Goes through the motions, helps rescue, much like we had in the mini comic. Which I'm saying that because it's reverse order, because the mini comic is more so adapted from this. So
she's quite taken with He-Man and explaining who she is, and that's her father's crest that she's wearing, and that she's a princess from Operon, and she's gotten lost in the jungle, and a very cool looking jungle too.
Yeah, it's a good shot right there. Nice little silhouette of them riding on Battle Cat.
And I like this shot too when they're kind of coming to like a not a fork in the road, but a mountain peak that you can see the two separate kingdoms of Targa and Operon, and it's a beautiful panning shot of the two kingdoms, like these two rival kingdoms. Separated by, there's a river, large jungles in between. Like, it's just fun to think about, like, the lifestyles that go on in both kingdoms, and how did this feud, obviously when Queen Belina comes to power, I'm sure is when a lot of this shit probably started, but it could have started even before then. We don't know. It's just kind of one of those, and of course now it gets, nice rainstorm for atmosphere here, people.
And then we see the river starts to rise. They obviously can't cross through it. He-Man finds a tree that had already fallen down, because he's not just
he's not going to pull it out of the ground. No, if you've seen Sleepers Awaken, another episode, and Dragon's Gift, he's not going to harm a tree.
Yeah. So he makes the bridge for them to cross. And at this point, much as we saw earlier, He-Man gets knocked out. Goes flooding down the river,
and they're going chasing after him as he goes over the waterfall. And now here's this cool like pullback shot of the Gargons hiding in the jungle, just waiting to ambush the knocked out. And that is such a cool shot. It fucking rocks. And they capture and take his sword too. Like, yep, all right, shit's not looking good right now, people.
And we have
still raining.
Yep, we have our commercial break. Take note too of the body of water.
Yeah, the lake above the city of Targa. Yeah, and a cool looking kingdom. Like the castle design is very. It looks beautiful. Like it doesn't look evil.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't look like that.
Well, I'm sure
kingdom is like an evil place.
It's well, obviously at one point in time it probably wasn't.
Yeah,
but thanks to her, and now it is. And now we get introduced to this version of Garn in this episode, which I'm going to ask you, Tyler, put you on the spot. Which Garn do you like best? If you had to pick one. It's tough because the Garn in this episode looks badass, but also the Garn that we got in Slave City mini comic looks the Native American motif on him in Slave City rocks. Obviously,
I like how this one's written better, but the one in the mini comic has the awesome design. Mm-hmm. But Garn in this, like I love his because he's there's something about this character too. Again, I can picture this version of Garn becoming an ally of He-Man's too. When you see how fucking strong he is too, this is a guy who legitimately is really fucking strong. When this guy can hammer the ground and break it open like He-Man can, that's saying something. There's not a whole lot of one-shot characters that do anything like that. So you're really getting this character over. He's given a great arc in the story, like learning from when He-Man gets the amnesia's gone. And remind you of certain things, like Garn learns and grows throughout the story, and will eventually become a great king. So he's given a lot of like arrogant dialogue here, like I'm a slave, but I'm the strongest man in the kingdom. And I like this animation of him swinging the blocker and then breaking it to show off in front of He-Man. And says, "No, there is no escape. She'll send soldiers to hunt me down." And I'm just look at that. Like he almost looks like he's physically bigger than He-Man.
He kind of towers over him, just
even though it's just he's a great visual, and Lou Scheimer does a good job with the voice too. Like, and as Queen Belina has summoned the stranger to her chambers, and we're greeted to the evil wizard Draco.
Yeah, he's like, "Who are you? I don't remember. You're lying."
To believe that. And then here comes Queen Belina looking all fucking fine. She got a body on her too, man. Like Filmation drew her quite well. And Linda Gary does a wonderful, yes, it's a white woman doing a black woman's voice, but Linda Gary is a woman of endless talents, and I think she does a wonderful job, of voicing.
It's also too. You had to think about it. This was 40 years ago. Obviously, times were different as well.
Yeah, so. And they had a finite cast. Most of them at Filmation, at least for this show, were white. Even though there were other black voice actors working in the industry, looking at Hanna-Barbera and with Marvel Productions, with Arthur Burkhart, the girls.
Yeah, watching G.I. Joe.
Scotsman. He's playing a white Scottish guy.
Once this week when I was watching some episodes of G.I. Joe, sometimes I see Destro, I'm like, yeah, he's so badass in the show, but I can't help but not think of your experience meeting him.
God, having that fucking meltdown. Yes, he is arguably one of the coolest, if not the coolest character on that show, but Jesus Christ, what a meltdown.
So you were talking about her body.
Yeah, so look at that.
Look how voluptuous.
Oh, look at that ass. And her headdress, like it just, she's a very striking looking, woman. And I can't help but wonder, because Conan obviously was a big inspiration on He-Man. There's a particular 2-story arc where Conan in Savage Sword Conan, with covers by Earl Norham, he's taken in by this Queen of the Amazon. It's a African American society. Mm-hmm. He's taken in with this woman he's trying to help and take to safety, and they were both taken captive. And the Queen decides to make Conan her lover in it. And I just can't help but feel like, and there's a guy that can't stand Conan that's trying to like one up him, and Conan humiliates him and embarrasses him. I just can't help but feel like maybe when they did the script, or they're coming up with some of the visuals, like I wonder if that particular story had any kind. I know this is pulled from Tarzan, but I just feel like there's
Maybe
some,
there was some little.
yeah, some references to that. It's a great story too. It's a great arc.
Yeah.
It's I had that framed for a while too. It's an amazing Earl Norm cover.
Yeah, I need to read more the
God,
Savage Sword
fucking
stuff.
cool, man. And Rhea and Battlecat are determined to try and get to He-Man, and lo and behold, Battlecat hits a trap that's
Yeah.
set for, could be a lot of things. And this animation of Battlecat clawing at the wall, I thought was really, really cool. Like right
Yeah.
there, it's this very unique animation.
And they do a good job here of showing you how deep.
Oh, it's a big fucking pit. Like
Yeah.
it's not something that, you know, I'm sure even with Battlecat's strength, it would be very, very difficult to. I mean, he can't get a grip to climb out.
Yeah.
It's slick, you know, and concrete. So
and him being out of commission makes her vulnerable to be captive.
Yep. So it's not looking good for our heroes right now.
And here's our arena, not the arena of death.
Oh yeah, we didn't touch on that. You know, Queen Belena's like we're just talking about her ass the whole time. You know, Belena's questioning He-Man, you know, and he can't give her anything. I don't know who I am. I'm not a spy from Operon. She's pissed off. They're like, all right, well, we're going to prepare you for the arena. Oh, and Draka too, like, you know, is very kind of, he's not keen on He-Man at all. And the fact he's not bowing to Queen Belena, he tries to freeze him, and He-Man ducks it and freezes a Gargon. And I think, you know, where Belena's like, she's not favoring him, but she's not like being overly aggressive towards He-Man at this moment here. So Draka just kind of feels like I need to put this stranger in his place. So because of He-Man's not giving answers, they want to put him in the arena with Garn, and that should freshen him. And this is a wonderful sequence here. And I love this, that even though He-Man's amnesia is still there, and Garn is like, you know, all I have to do is beat you and I'm a free man. It's like, you know, you're forgetting one thing, Garn. There is a chance I may win. Garn's just like, you beat me? Like, oh, and again, something here we're leading to is that no one knows who He-Man is.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, there's just they've heard the tales, but they don't know what he looks like.
Yeah, and that's something too that is really cool to emphasize how far Prince Adam and Crenshaw were from the royal palace. You're so far off in an area that you're not that familiar with that these people had just only heard stuff of this guy running around Eternia. Mm-hmm. That's like, okay, this has just got to be stories of legend. Like, is there really this guy that can do all these things? Mm-hmm. That Eternia is so vast that He-Man's not getting all over the planet. Like Skeletor's not attacking the kingdom of Targa or Operon. There's so many places that are untouched, that are dealing with their own Civil War shit or other problems, or living prosperous lives and just hearing stories, but they're not seeing Skeletor and the Evil Wars, He-Man, the Heroic Warriors, anything to do with Castle Grayskull. They're so far from, and I love little touches of world expanding like that are not beating you over the head about it. Just little bits of dialogue that really, like, oh my God, like, that just shows how impactful, like, and how vast this planet is, that people have heard this stuff, but they've not yet seen it.
Yeah. Well, they're about to. I like this part here when Garn is on his ass. It reminded me very much of just locking up and wrestling, where he shows him off and and the heel's in the corner. I think it happened a lot in Lex Luger matches where they'd shove him off and then Luger would like do that. Yeah. So I like seeing that just because of his character and how confident he is in himself, and obviously not knowing that this is He-Man, that someone.
This is probably the first time he's been knocked on his ass.
Yeah, someone's standing toe to toe with him.
And Belena is, I can tell, like she's as moist as a snack cake for He-Man here, because when she's talking to Draka, and then you see a shot of her smiling, and I'm like, she's smiling at He-Man. I know she is, you know, and Garn's not doing so hot. So Draka's like, I'm gonna one up, up the ante here and give him and enhance his already natural strength, and just Garn just powers up here, and yeah. And they use the animation that's used in Diamond Red Disappearance when Triclops is attacking He-Man and reverse it and have He-Man being knocked on his ass.
Yeah.
which is quite cool.
So when that happens and he lands, he hits the back of his head on the ground, and that's what
It's like, I
brings
know
him.
who I am.
Yeah. So once again, since we're comparing the two, I got to give the edge to the mini comic. Him taking a mace to the face,
Yeah.
way more than just he fell down and bumped his head again.
Between the two,
because this is just too much. This is too like, it's fine in the context of this episode, but if I'm comparing it to what we end up getting in the mini comic, I prefer.
All right, if we're breaking down how the amnesia is broken, the shot did they have at the mace? Okay, I'll give that. But wrapping the fight up, I like better in Filmation.
Okay.
Like because again, it's as we're getting as the his head is cleared and Garn attacks him again, and there's Belina like, I'm having him tonight. And he picks up Garn, and look, this is on the back of the VHS tape, like the full shot of Belina and Draka looking down at He-Man holding up Garn over his head.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying, all right, the match is over. And I love He-Man just sets Garn down gently. And it says, like, I have won, and I say, let Garn go. And I love that. And then Draka's like, have you not understand that, the Queen's command is like, she's your queen, not mine. I've won, and I say, let him go. And Belina is taken with that. Like, let him go and bring the stranger to me in my chambers. And again, when Garn is like in this arena, he's lost his first match in front of everybody, and just came up and hang and say, why'd you spare me? I wasn't going to spare you. It's like, He-Man can't be the one to decide your fate. That is for you to decide, and you alone. It's like, you're He-Man? Again, this adds so much more layers of context and character development to this fight than we got in the mini-comic. Not the mini-comic's fault, because you got 14 pages to tell this compelling story. Yeah. But this is why I like that, is you're giving layers to like Garn, because Garn has heard of He-Man and has heard these unbelievable. There's no way this guy can do all this stuff. And my God, here he is right in front of me, and he spared my fucking life. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's just, it's like there's bombs going off in Garn's head of like growth. And of course now He-Man is with Belina privately, and she wants to make him the captain of the guard, among other things. There's yeah, that's all she's asking for. But believe me, as an adult looking at this, she is after this, big brave brick of meat. And then Draka comes in, and he's like, look, it's a generous offer, but I'm not interested in being your captain of the guard, because I've seen you're a cruel woman. Mm-hmm. And I can't be a part of cruelty. And she's not attacking him. She's not. It's almost, again, his presence here is showing perspective to these people that are, it's a very strict way of living. Garn, you go kill, take people out. Belina runs the show. No one's standing up to her, but she's showing He-Man respect as well. Like, she's not threatening to kill him. I'm going to put you back in the dungeon, because she doesn't know who he is at this moment. She still doesn't know he's He-Man. She thinks he's just this handsome stranger that can kick ass. Yeah. And that is it. Doesn't recognize that's the sword of power. Yeah. She's more taken aback that, okay, well, we've captured Princess Rhea. All right. Well, you and Garn can go in the morning. That her ego is more about, okay, well, I'm not going to get the man of my dreams. I'll let these guys go. They can leave us alone, and we can focus on frying bigger fish with the opposing kingdom across the river. Yeah, and there's a lot of wheels in motion with that. And it's going back to your point. If we're comparing it to the mini comic, obviously, I love the way Lodar looks, so I have a preference towards Lodar mini comic. But obviously, when you take into account what's going on in Tale of Two Cities, I prefer how, much like you do, the way that this fight ends and how the rest of the story flows. I like, you're given more to do with Queen Belina and Draka. Lodar is one of the best looking original characters that's ever been done for the line, but it's very limited with what he's doing. Whereas, even though you're not giving a full expansion of like what Queen Boleyn is doing. She's clearly, I kind of like to think too that, you know, she was probably not someone who was like immediately evil to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And really what she's doing too, it seems like what most kings and queens have done before. It's gladiatorial games for sports, entertainment. You know, you have a kingdom you don't like, so you're pretty much wanting to get the finger, you know, to the opposing kingdom in any way you can,
Yeah.
much like people would do. And you expect that kind of like with opposing kingdoms. So it's not necessarily making her evil, but He-Man says you're a cruel woman. He's not saying you're an evil woman, but you do things, you know what, I don't abide by. I don't like how you carry yourself.
It borders on evil. She writes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She writes the thin line.
She Draka clearly is an evil asshole.
Yeah,
and he's there to kind of help antagonize.
He's probably
push him in a direction that he sees fit.
Yeah, he's the biggest reason, more than likely, that she's even in.
Yeah, you know, and that's something that could be expanded upon too. Is that when she came to power, he may have been like her father's, you know, number one confidant, or he could be someone that is a big kiss ass. And
I see it more maybe being in the kiss ass role, but he's lent himself due to his abilities that she thinks this gives her the edge over the opposing kingdom, that now if anything were to happen, she could finally be in that position. And I think it's just, they're working enough with each other that it's kind of over time, I think, probably turned her cruel.
Yeah, because he looks older. Like he comes off like he's more older, you know, in the sense that he is probably been with that family or her family for a long time, possibly, or someone that, you know, she saw value in as a young queen and brought him in. So therefore he's got this, like, I chip on my shoulder, is that he's got, you know, magical powers. He doesn't, it's not like he's going around zapping everybody this and that, because he clearly respects her, you know. And
it's like this is Eternia's version of the Penguin. We just do it like that.
Yeah, very much so. And again, I just feel like he's probably more of a kiss ass than anything else, but came along at the right time, because, you know, obviously she's probably a woman in her, you know, late 20s, early 30s.
Let me ask you this, since I said the Penguin, do you think, I'm not going to say like a series or whatever, but just as a storytelling device, do you think an aspect of something focusing on a character like Targa and the adventures of that could work as like a sidestep, like a big, however you would want to do it? But I'm thinking just like how you get the Penguin from the Batman movie, and they do a TV series of it. Could you see there being certain characters that would work as a series where it's not the focus isn't on the adventures of He-Man and heroic warriors and Skeletor and battling evil? I mean, it's just all this other stuff going on.
Fuck yeah, dude! You could do, you know, if you were to do like 3 books, you could have a main book of He-Man versus Skeletor and the Evil Horde and the Snake Man and other one-shot villains that keep coming back. You have one of just the heroic warriors on their own adventures, like Man-at-Arms Dispatches, you know, Fisto and Clampchamp on an adventure, something like that, or Buzz-Off and Mechanic, and then another one about the world of Eternia. What is going on these different parts here? You know, Target could be one, Operon could be another one, Temple of the Sun could be another, because I still want to bring Nethu and make him an Egyptian warlord, not this bum that just finds the sun scarab and takes over this abandoned temple for a day. Make this guy a guy who's grown his own empire in the sands of time and taken over the Temple of the Sun as this mad Egyptian warlord looking to try and take over other kingdoms, and sets his sights on the royal palace. World build, make more evil kings and queens and good kings and queens and other things where you can expand what a day-to-day situation would be like. You know, why is there tension between Operon and Targo? That could be like a 2-3 book arc in the World of Eternia comic book. You know, set up why does Belina have it out for this king who clearly is not a confrontational monarch at all?
Yeah, when you see him here, he's clearly not a threat. When we look, I was like, yeah, this guy doesn't look like he just wants to be left alone.
No, and
Seems
it
like
could be, her push for power. Like
it could be.
she's not satisfied with just having Targa. She wants the kingdom across the river, which means expansion, which is what most kings and queens throughout history,
Mhm.
we're all about expansion, growth, taking over more, taking more lives if they have to, whatever it takes to get more people under their control because their ego. They have an inner council that's kind of poking and prodding and suggesting, if we could do this, we could do that. And if they're pushing to get more power, that means I get more power.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, fuck yeah, dude. Like a World of Eternity, like a series where you really could just and He-Man doesn't show up. Sure, you can mention the character, but
Mhm.
that's not the focus. The focus is seeing Queen Belina.
I,
What is she doing?
I guess
What is her plan? And
the biggest thing behind that is just yeah, it's. I think it sounds good when we're just kind of talking about it here because I'm thinking about the stuff that, like the Penguin or what they did with what is it, Night of the Seven Kingdoms or whatever, like that Game of Thrones little spinoff thing they did. That was fantastic. Would there be interest in that though? If it's something in this universe that doesn't pertain and doesn't mention He-Man,
well, you got to write
do you
He-Man
think everyone else?
like some of the best legendary characters of the art. You can't write them as just putzes that just reference things off the fucking internet.
Yeah.
And until we get people who are in charge who really want to tell I'm not trying to go on a movie rant or I'm being fucking serious. Like there's got to be a time where it's like someone has to come along and say, I grew up on a He-Man. Like that's not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You have got to want to tell really comprehensive and compelling stories of really showing like, I didn't grow up on Filmation. I don't give a fuck if you didn't grow up on Filmation. Or you look at it's like, oh, it looks gay and lame. Well, because you're not fucking paying attention to it, which is why this series continues to be celebrated over 40 fucking years later. Yeah. Everything else that's come after that, it's not really getting these big anniversary specials and celebrations and shit like that. It's just not. That's why we look at we are still breaking down these episodes all the time and pointing out details that have not been brought to people's attention before. Because people aren't stopping to think about that. And that sure as hell is happening with the current media, with comics and stories and things like that. They're just not trying that hard. And maybe it's not because they're not being asked to try that hard. But to me, this just comes naturally to me. I'm not saying it to like toot my own fucking horn or anything like that. I'm just saying I look at this stuff. You and I are breaking this stuff. I didn't come into this side thinking like the idea of like a story, like expanding on the city of Targa and Operon. That's a brilliant idea. Along with the other ideas of expanding the world, because it's a big fucking planet. There are things going on all over the planet with ancient artifacts and kingdoms and tribes and creatures and monsters and other people coming from other planets to come here and take over the planet.
And it's like we mentioned, He-Man can't be everywhere all the time.
Can't be everywhere. And you know what? Evil is going to be triumphing somewhere on this planet.
And I would like to see the story of where that's taking place and who's involved and what's going on.
Yeah, dude, it writes itself. As long as you have taken the time to watch and research and read a lot of material, man, like the stuff should just flow like an endless stream, like the ocean. It's just constantly coming in. But we're like, nah, I gotta make up my own shit. I wanna reinvent the wheel here. So that
where the beer flows like wine.
Yeah, it's just infuriating that people don't stop and think, if there's a market for He-Man, well, you could make it better if you actually cared and really wanted to tell stories and not just go the cheap route. Hire the cheapest artist who can't draw what the fuck. Hire the cheapest writer who can't write what the fuck. Like it's and it just, I don't lose sleep about it because I've made my peace with it. But it's just never going to happen in this day and age where the powers that be, whether it be Mattel or Dark Horse, since they have the comic book rights now, are actually going to get people who genuinely care. Like Axel, who works on He-Man, he cares, but he's not right. He's not drawing the comics. He's not writing the comics or anything like that. He's just doing the box art, and that is it. Yeah. But he's happy to be doing that, and it's.
I know it burns your ass week to week.
It does, and I don't want to say I've given up that they'll ever decide. You know what? We could do better. because with what's coming out in June, clearly they don't care if they could do better. And I just, that's at least I have this platform to like emphasize, like, yeah, it could be done. It could be done for free.
You'll always have this. There's a good shot here of He-Man and Garn.
Oh, I love this action shot when they're looking for Battle Cat and they hear him crying out and running together like that.
The order of operation in this, though. So when Battle Cat's reaching up, Garn's a strong dude, but He-Man's stronger. I feel like I would have had He-Man at the top holding the majority of the weight and having Garn reach down to grab Battle Cat and lift him up.
Yeah, but then
But this is a good testament of how fucking strong Garn is.
So if Garn can hold He-Man and Battle Cat with one arm.
Yeah, that's putting him over pretty good.
It is, man. We're getting this guy over strong, in a respectable way, not like getting over Sheamus. That fucking sucked, dude.
I honestly don't have a problem with Sheamus.
Him getting over in that fucking battle royal and then winning the title right after that. What the fuck, dude? Like,
it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. I was like, at least there's someone new in the main event scene, and I can always appreciate.
Yeah, but I'd like them to be chosen by the audience. They're getting themselves over naturally, not just because
it's handpicked.
Handpicked by.
That's how it's always been. Well, you think Hogan wasn't handpicked? Come on, man.
Well, if the audience didn't respond to him the way they did, I don't think he would have lasted very long.
Oh, I guess that's true too. Hey, Sheamus had a good theme song. Shameful day, lobster here. Come on. Anyway, they get man, this shot that we have right here in the transition makes them all look like ghosts. They're all translucent right here. But
they all died from that.
They get Battle Cat.
Battle Cat, Garn like confidence, like what a magnificent animal, and they realize Battle Cat can speak, and he thanks him, and he just has this big smile on his face, like, oh my god, this is so fucking cool.
And at this point, He-Man says, "I have a plan."
Oh, because they see that that Ray has been captured, so they go back, and their plan is to hold her ransom, and they see King Thalos is being escorted into the palace as a prisoner to pay. Well, he's there. Well, he becomes a prisoner. He's there to pay the ransom, but they're going to put him in the dungeon. So that's what He-Man and Garn. Okay, I got a plan.
Yeah. So He-Man sneaks in. He lets the king know this is what I'm going to do. This is a quick little bit here. This happens in the span of 90 seconds, 2 minutes.
Yeah, for a story that seems very long up to this point, and then it's just like, okay, now full steam ahead. We got to wrap this thing. But that's what makes this episode so great, is that I think it also helps too that you're in areas you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
If it was Castle Grayskull, the Royal Palace of Snake Mountain, it would probably flow a lot faster. But you're dealing with areas you're not familiar with, so therefore the story seems to be at a different pace because we're not familiar with these characters. We're not familiar with these kingdoms and territories and locations,
Yeah.
And they're there to collect the payment after they brought her out, and it's like, all right, here's your payment, Draka. You can collect if you can, And I love that challenge. And when he says, like, I'm He-Man, and they're like, what? The stranger's He-Man? And yeah, and that's when everyone realizes it. And then not only that, and then he's like, come in, guys. And here comes Garn and Battle Cat. Like, you guys are fucked now.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Draka's still not going to be one-upped. His ego's going to get the best of him now and decides to cause an earthquake, forgetting that there's a lake right above the fucking kingdom.
Yeah, what a moron. You would think that when we were doing our hypotheticals, if Draka had been involved with Belina's family or whatever, or clearly he's been there long enough, you would think that he would have known better. But obviously, it's kind of been established going through this episode. He's
hot-headed.
Actions before he's not thinking.
No,
clearly at all. He's always action first.
Having that opportunity, like he likes to throw around his weight of like where his place is in this court, but having someone so defiant and imposing as He-Man, he's not thinking. He's just like, oh my God, there's someone who's making us look bad. I'm not going to have this, and not thinking about, like, be smart about this. This guy's very intelligent and he's fucking strong. So and again, it's what happens when someone's not calling out a bully for their bullshit. They don't know how to handle it.
And everything is
He-Man. Here the lake is erupting and coming down into the kingdom,
and once again,
the whole support.
Another show of strength by Garn. They really, I mean, you put this Garn in our power rating, he's probably gonna be up there. Honestly,
it depends on like what group we're putting him in with. If we're putting him in with like one-shot characters, which I don't think we did that. I think we did one-shot villains.
No, I'm saying power ratings, not
power rate.
not
we did like a power. Oh yeah, power. Oh, he's getting almost a perfect list. Like he's getting. I mean,
strength-wise, he's equivalent to He-Man. Garn, Filmation Garn versus Fisto. Like, who's going to win that matchup? You know.
Boy, no, there's a clash of titans.
We'll have to.
Yeah, we do really have to break that one down.
Do another Kumite.
Yeah. I don't know. I cannot give a clear answer on that one, dude.
So they pushed this outer wall out, and that seems to hold for a little bit, but then we start to get some leakage through here, and here's another test of strength that you had mentioned earlier in the episode, where both He-Man and Garn start just hammering down
on the ground and opening up a chasm on the grounds there for the lake to fall into. And right there, that shot of like just how it's like size wise.
Yeah, he's a big fucking dude.
Towers over He-Man.
Yeah,
and that's a great shot of them just like realizing we just saved the kingdom. Both kingdoms.
This is to scale a Marvel Legend next to a McFarlane DC figure.
Yeah. Except these look both good. Because I'm not too big on McFarlane stuff. Sometimes it looks pretty good. Other times, like, ugh, what happened here?
Yeah, but yeah, as you said, they essentially just kind of created another little waterfall into this big empty void.
And now Garn has been made king of Targa. And through this too, like, but what something missed there is like when the kings get ready to be flooded, and Garn's like, why are we saving them? And He-Man's like, it's not our place to punish them. That's up to the courts of the king, of attorney. And again, it's making Garn think more about humility, mercy. Before he's even becoming king, just as a man, like, don't be so quick to want to hurt others. Just because they're an asshole doesn't mean you need to be one too.
Yeah, and also that would be like a great follow-up. Is let's see how Garn's doing as a king.
Yeah, and I that's kind of I had a tie-in with that.
Okay.
Not it's touched upon, but when we wrap this up, I'll touch on that. We can show the artwork for that, for if in case people might be interested in.
Well, I was kind of thinking maybe you sort of give a tease for that, and then we just
well, hopefully I can get out of that writing stump that I've got. But all right, we'll wrap this up. Yeah. We'll wrap the story up here. Is Ray is asking He-Man if he would stay, and he's like, no, but we'll be back to visit. And she gives He-Man she's quite smitten with him too, of course. And all the ladies, they all want He-Man. She goes over and loves on Battle Cat, and he's like, come on, you big pussy cat. And I just love that.
It just cut the clip. It's like, come on, you big pussy.
You big pussy. But they're all, and I like to think that now we have a unity between Targa and Operon, because Belina's been outed as queen, and you have a brand new, humbled, very imposing man as your king in Targa, who has obviously learned about mercy and compassion, and not wanting to just be as cruel as everyone has been to him.
And then the moral that we have here is He-Man's like, yeah, you know what? TV's great, but you know what's pretty cool too? Books.
Read some books. Read about Sherlock Holmes and comedies and things like that too.
Yeah, expand your vocabulary. Actually, reading is good. Reading is fundamental. I saw that Pizza Hut, I guess maybe it's Pizza, but the Book It program's coming back.
They're bringing it back.
Yeah, they're bringing it back. Yeah. Tyler, you're gonna start reading books and
I'll read. Go to the zoo. You know, I want my fucking pizza, man. I want to fill it that bad. I want, I'll just walk into Riverline and say, hey, can I get one of them bucket badges?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, go ahead, Tyler. Give the people a tiny taste, because this is gonna kind of play into something that we are gonna do here for a future episode once Tyler gets through his writer's.
Yeah, I've got the setup for it. So the setup is setting up the back history of the villain in this, and the villain is a one-shot villain that happened before. But I thought, because of where I wanted to set this, is that this would be a sequel to the story Betrayal of Stratos, is that we would bring Krull, the King of Demons, back and give him a backstory, is like why he's there, why he's only in this kind of ghost form, as you can say, that he's just a floating head over a cauldron, but he can't get out of the demon zone. So I've worked on an idea of like how he got there and what his goal is, and his mission is to get back in He-Man for pretty much coming into the demon zone, taking the egg of Avion, humiliating Whiplash, who was pretty much his henchman at that time, even though he's working for Skeletor, trying to give logic to some of that as well. And then learns that in the Mountains of Doom, which is where the demon zone is at, not too far from them is the Kingdom of Targo. So that He-Man and Buzz-Off are there visiting Garn and catching up with him, seeing how things are going. And Garn lets them know that people have been disappearing. Mainly, a lot of young women have been disappearing. And I'm hearing stories of human sacrifice in the Mountains of Doom. I haven't checked it out yet, but Operon and myself are dealing with a lot of disappearances. And we're coming up with a lot of, unanswered questions of like where. And the latest is my cousin. His cousin Lanessa is gone. So He-Man and Buzz-Off are being dispatched to the Mountains of Doom to figure out what is going on. And we'll learn that Krull, the King of Demons, is aiming to make a big comeback. And this image here will set that up.
Yep. So be on the lookout for this at some point in the near-ish future.
Yeah.
Now, The Cult of Krull, an original story by Tyler Baker. So we'll have that
art by Kevin Sharp.
We will have that as an episode soon enough. Before we hit our commercial break, get in some feedback and stuff, we gotta go over the review that James gave Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah, God help us, Reverend. I swear, Crimes Against Master Universe. We'll have to have him on just for one of those. We had to hold him accountable for all these like shitty reviews he's given.
Do you want to take a guess of the score?
I will say I think he gives like a decent, like maybe a 6 out of 10. I think is what he gives it.
It is not often that an episode can create a truly unique atmosphere within the first minute, but this episode succeeds like no other. You would think that He-Man suffering from amnesia would be the plot that connects us to the episode, but it is the fact that we feel just as alone as He-Man. Much like our hero, we recognize none of the locations or characters. One of the most interesting aspects of this episode is that all the characters believe He-Man to be nothing more than a legend. This only helps to create the sense that we are far away from what we have come to know of this series. And also it makes He-Man just that little bit more extraordinary. That sounded like a very positive review, and he only gave it a 7 out of 10.
That son of a bitch.
That sounds like easy 8 at least.
8 at least.
Yeah.
James, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How do you sleep at night with these kind of reviews, man?
7 out of 10.
One of these days, James, you're going to get yours.
But let's
maybe when I see you next in the next year or so.
Yeah. Actually, shit. I guess we should give our ratings for that episode as well while we're at it.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
I was gonna say 9 as well. That's a very solid ass episode, and the mini comic that ends up being adapted from that does a fantastic job.
It does.
The main story beats, having a different villain this go around with a cool color scheme. I also checked while we were talking, not in the Origins line, so there you go. I'm sure the classics didn't look it up to see how much he is these days, but when I got him a few years back, maybe he was a little more expensive than I remember. Now that I think about it. Because that was, I guess, just one of those figures that a lot of people. What was the demand for that? Were people excited for that when that was announced? Okay,
And that was, I think, that was part of the last one with him, Hawk, and Quake from New Adventures, and I forgot who the fourth one was. There's only 4 figures because that's all we were getting at the time.
That's right. So this would have been a Super 7 release, right?
Yeah, it was one of the last ones Super 7 put out.
That's right. That's
So
right.
yeah, he was definitely a welcome character. Always brought up in, like,
So he's probably expensive. Let's for shits and giggles.
I'd say he's probably not going to be like a $100 purchase. Not like a Fisto or a Cobra Khan.
I don't know. With it being the Super 7 one though, you can get him. You can get them loose for like 85 if you're getting them on card.
130 mint box, 150 mint on card.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that back.
Yeah. And there's not even that many listings for them either.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow, if you like them, you are fucked.
Yeah. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but it was definitely in that $70, $80, $90 range. I think.
Look, some assholes charging $70 for the fucking unnamed one Tron figure, man. Dude, throw that thing in the fucking trash.
All right. Well, with all that said, Tyler, let's go ahead, roll some commercials.
$100. Fuck you.
Come back and check out some of the feedback that you've left us on the previous episode. Plus, an announcement that we have to make that I meant to do at the beginning of this episode, but fuck it, we'll do it after the commercial.
Yeah, we had our own Botchamania here. So.
Yeah, so we will be back right after this.
Stay tuned.
Your Greenness, the Earthlings are much more advanced than we imagined. They have chairs that talk.
Sit with me.
Windows that speak.
What a day.
Globes that teach.
You've got lots to learn.
Birds that talk.
Come play with me.
Flowers that dance and screens that walk. And their leader, boy, can he dress.
Pee-wee's Playhouse Playset. Each character sold separately from Matchbox.
Hey, Stanley.
Yeah, George?
How would you like your own TV show?
Okay.
Channel 62 needed a new station manager.
No, not him. Forget it. No way.
Well, this is even better than I imagined.
But what they got was a man so desperate for ratings.
Today, we're teaching poodles how to fly.
He put anyone on the air.
Open wide!
It's Weird Al Yankovic in UHF. Rated PG-13. Special sneak preview Friday, July 14th. Check newspapers.
Lightning strikes with the Thundercats. Full throttle. Full throttle action is waiting for you when Lion-O and his brave band of superheroes.
Handle this, reptilian.
Get the jump on the dangerous demons of Third Earth, including those mean and ugly mutants.
They're revolting.
So don't miss all the thundering adventures.
I wouldn't if I were you.
Because lightning strikes with the Thundercats.
Weekdays at 4 on Channel 35.
And we're back. So before we get into feedback, we have to make the announcement that I initially intended to make at the start of the show. It was announced a couple days ago through social media platforms that Tyler and I are going to be attending Motu Fest, brought to you by PowerCon, and this is going to be happening in Cincinnati on September 12th and the 13th. So all the ticket information, if you want to get yourself a ticket, book, find the hotel, find other hotels that are nearby, because as I understand it, the discounted rate for the rooms at the hotel that's taking place where the convention is at have already sold out, but there are going to be discounted rates at some other hotels nearby. So make sure you go to thepowercon.com and check out the guest list that we are on, which kind of blows my mind. But yeah, after 3 years, we're going back again. And this one is going to be different from the PowerCon that we had in 2023. This event's focused solely on Masters of the Universe, whereas PowerCon that we had 3 years ago,
like all the vendors were all He-Man related for the most part, but the guest was a mixed bag of
the whole vibe of it was it's pop culture, it's toys in general. So this one's Master Universe focused. We will be there, so if you wanna come meet us, we will have prints, and we're still kind of thinking about finalizing stickers, buttons, magnets, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, but we will be at a table for you to come over to us and either tell us how fucking wrong we are, or
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever. We welcome people and their opinions at the table, so don't be, don't hesitate.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Just sit and just talk with us. And talk with us about He-Man. You can talk with us about anything you want. Well, we will be there. We're not charging people to take pictures with us and all that kind of shit. We're just be thankful that people even know who we are.
Yeah, so just stop by and come say hi. So let's get into feedback time. All this, of course, comes from, let me go back here, because there was one in particular for the Stone Dog Rock On, but everything else, as far as I know, comes from our Golden Book review, Sunbird Legacy. I'm going to start off. You're going to love this one, Tyler. Without a doubt. I'm Oliver Belmont, have faith in the new He-Man film. It's going to make 80s dads say the 4 words known to all He-Man fans. I have the power. Yeah, I don't want to get Tyler on that tangent, so I'm glad that you feel that way. I'm glad that people are excited for it. I've seen stuff where people have already bought their tickets for it and everything. I'm happy for them. I'm still debating if I'm going to go opening weekend just to check it out and see what it's all about. So, I mean, obviously Tyler's not going to go. So if I go and see it and I review it, I'm going to make sure to bring someone on that's watched it. Maybe James, if James goes and sees it.
Yeah, because James says he'll see it. Tom says he'll see it. I'm like, why?
Yeah, so I'll bring them on. We'll talk about it and see how everyone's feeling about it.
Well, I told Nathan I watched a minute featurette that showed footage of the movie just because it kept popping up on YouTube. The more Filmation I watch on YouTube, the more shit from that movie keeps popping up. So yeah, I watched a minute featurette, and I was, oh my God, I was just ready to attack everyone involved with this movie. Oh my God, it's just so fucking atrocious. That's why I don't get, unless you completely are just someone who has no fucking recollection other than I remember that as a kid, and that's as far as it goes. So when you see it's like, I can't wait, all these fucking random videos people show up, I just watch, here's my reaction to the video, the new trailer, here's my reaction to this, here's my reaction to you. And it's like there's people can say, well, where's the harm in that? And like, because it's encouraging these assholes to keep making more shitty decisions with the property. That's what I'm upset about.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, Tyler's more upset about that aspect of it, not the fact that people are excited, because we've mentioned this before, and I just said it a couple minutes ago. If you're stoked for it, like that's awesome. Like if you go and you watch it and you love it and it made you happy, like that's what it's all about. But I understand Tyler's viewpoint of if this somehow makes a ton of money and they want to greenlight more sequels, and what does this do to the canon overall? Does that start to make another iteration?
Enough already,
but that is why Tyler is mad about it. Moving on, because I don't want you to.
Sorry, Oliver, but I can't sit there and say I hope you have a great time. Play that clip where it does. Hope you enjoy it.
Hope you enjoy it.
I will. I will do that. UHF. I need to watch that again. Jeremy DeWitt, a big fan of UHF, which I'm glad that there's another person out there that loves that movie as much as me.
My dad and my brother loved it. Matt Hilton loved it. Like, we were all big fans of UHF, like seeing it on Comedy Central a lot back in the day and then renting it on VHS. Like,
that just had the unfortunate circumstance of its release window being wedged in between these fucking juggernauts of everying else.
I mean, the summer of '89 that might go down. Some people say summer of '99. I say no, fuck you. Summer of '89.
Why are they saying? Are they saying summer of '99 because it's Matrix, Sixth Sense,
Phantom Menace, The Haunting, Deep Blue Sea, Lake Placid?
No. Yeah. Give me '89 all day over that.
I'm sorry, but even though, I went to the theater a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 13th Ward came out the end of that summer. Saw it fucking 5 times. Saw Haunting, I think 3 times. Lake Placid.
How many times did you see Phantom Menace again?
I think it was 20. I think. Nah, I saw it fucking 14 times.
14.
Yeah, what a fucking idiot I was.
14 fucking times. I mean, to be fair, though, at that time, and we've mentioned this before over the years, but it's just something I have to bring up. I think that I saw the Phantom Menace maybe 3 or 4, but you got to think for me at that period of time in my life, that was a lot of times to go see that.
Well, and at that time too, my dad lived right down the road from the mall, so
yeah,
it was a lot.
Easy,
It was no big deal. I said, Dad, can I go see it again? He just would just drop me off and come pick me up, and that's it. You know, it was not a big endeavor. You know,
14 fucking times. My God.
So on top of seeing the Phantom Menace, The Haunting, Deep Blue Sea, I think we saw that 5 times.
I've never watched The Haunting.
3 or 4 or 5 times, and 13th Warrior 5 times. God. Yeah, we were at the theater a lot that summer.
Man, I've never seen The Haunting.
I don't need to see it again. Again, one of those movies I thought was so much fun in theaters, and because the sound was so loud and made you jump and shit like that. And you know, no, I mean the best part is when Owen Wilson gets his head taken off because he's a fucking shitty actor.
But that's just the proof that I like that. At least people get a glimpse to that side of who you were at one point in time.
Well, I mean, and because movies still are one of my biggest passions. Is as long as I have breath, you know, I'm breathing. Movies are always just going to be such an impactful thing. And that summer of '99, like my dad, my brother, we were just going to the movies a lot, and we were all enjoying it. You know, we were, you know, my dad was there for Deep Blue Sea, multiple viewings, 13th Warrior, multiple viewings, The Haunting, multiple viewings, Lake Placid, multiple viewings, because we just all enjoyed the fuck out of those movies. We just had a blast. And my affinity for Darth Maul was what kept me going so many times. I just
that's understandable. I
was so hyped up, and I remember feeling gut punch when I first saw it, like, oh my God, this is not as good as I thought it was going to be, and refused to accept it. I told myself after that first screening, it was still great. It was still awesome. I loved the lightsaber fight. It was great. It was awesome. Even though there was things I'm like, and refusing to admit that to myself. And I was really bad about that. I mean,
admittedly, I think the pod racing stuff is a highlight. The actual race is
when I got over that initial like first show and think, oh my God, like I guess this is not as good as I kept hoping it was, because I kept thinking I was going to do what people did in 1977.
Yeah,
we
all did, because that was like, oh, we get to experience a new Star Wars.
Yeah, and in the theater, and I'm buying all the fucking toys. I'm clipping out clippings in USA Today about, you know, months in advance about, oh my God, Star Wars is popping up here. I'm gonna make a scrapbook of everything coming out,
and then you're watching TRL on MTV, and they're playing the Duel of the Fates.
Watching that, and like, it gets cut off short because Carson Daly wants to play this bullshit video from Jennifer Lopez, and I'm like, I hate you, Carson Daly, and fuck Jennifer Lopez, even though she's fucking hot.
Yeah,
you know, her and shitty music.
I still stand by, and I know you're gonna be like, no, and I get that too, but I still think that first Matrix movie is still solid.
No, I watched it about a year or so ago. Like, God, this movie fucking sucks.
I
don't like it at all. I thought it was just this is just a.
I like it. I still like that first one. The soundtrack rules, man.
Oh, the soundtrack for 1 and 2 is very good.
Yeah. But I'm sure. I could see you jamming out to that POD song from the Reloaded soundtrack. Yeah.
No, not that song. It's more like somebody like kind of original like music. Like Paul Oakenfold did some music for the movie, and there's some other like instrumental beats that were done for the movie too that I remember enjoying. Like, saw all 3 of them in theater. I was checked out to the second one. Like I saw it like 2 or 3 times, and I was like,
that was Reloaded. Was when I watched it. That's when I had the experience that you were just talking about. Of I was like, oh, it was good, and then you're like, no, it's
yeah.
And then
it sucks because you just
that third one sucked ass.
Oh yeah, and I didn't want to go see it. Like by that point, I was just kind of like, you know what? I don't. This third one looks ridiculous. It's you know, it's like what the Wachowskis did with what they did with Matrix. Like what I guess it was Jerry Bruckheimer and the guys behind Pirates of the Caribbean. Is like the first one comes out, they have no idea what kind of a hit it's going to be, and it turns into this massive fucking hit. And then they just come up with these sequel ideas and just like, dude, this fucking dilutes what you did in the first film.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fucking stupid.
But there was a tangent for that. Oliver Belmont, even though Tyler doesn't wish it on you, I hope that you go.
Just stay and watch the live action movie, because that's what I do that all the time anyway. Save your money, save your sanity.
This is the live action movie, Tyler. Come on.
No, it's
Anyway.
it's a fucking glorified fan film.
Chubaloo says if He-Man killed stuff, it would be too easy for him. He-Man is more like Superman. It's not about their power, it's about their restraint.
Well, and two, you start killing off everybody, you're running out of villains for our hero to take on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only few like the Punisher kills people like that, but because that's his MO. Like, we don't need to see any of the other. Wolverine will kill people, not all the time, but he doesn't hesitate to kill. He will kill, yes. But everyone else, they're more restrained about that kind of stuff, and I think it's good that the characters that we see in our mythologies, with especially comic books, they're not out there to cut off heads and gut people left and right. Like, yeah, cannon fodder characters, like your army builder characters and things like, yeah, you can see them being taken out, robots and things like that, of course. Mm-hmm. But we don't need to see He-Man, cut off Jitsu's other hand, or impale Clawful, with his power sword, or like I always thought it'd be cool if He-Man would use it to maim them in a way. Like I always wanted this visual image of He-Man like taking on Clawful and takes the power and jams it into his foot, excuse me. Like plunge it into his foot and then knocks him the fuck out. That's something I did that in that Jitsu's Nightmare comic that never got off the ground. Amongst many comic projects, just dig it off the fucking ground. But I always had that visual of like He-Man fighting Clawful, and like I said, you don't kill him, but wasn't hesitate to use the power sword on them.
Yeah,
just to take him out of commission and like slam it into his foot.
It's kind of like Rambo in First Blood.
Yeah, he does. He takes them all out of action, but he will fuck them up.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and that's as far as I like to, but you don't use that sparingly. I remember in when Val and Emiliano did the Shard of Darkness, He-Man does stab Triclops in the leg, which I thought that was cool to actually see. Like their sword fighting, He-Man will like stab Triclops, but not in an internal organ or something like that, just enough to like stop him.
Yeah,
and that's as far as it should go. Things like that you don't, you need to see some punishment to the bodies. We're talking about characters who are trying to kill you. So, swords and axes and things like that. So yeah, there should be moments where people are getting, cut in the shoulder or on the arm, or, there should be, a little bit of
some gashes, but no amputation.
Yeah, there should be, some blading going on,
Yeah, some blading going on. Papa Hud 69 popped in to say Sunbird Legacy, my favorite Golden Book story. And then someone I feel like I had never seen in any chat formation, 8 Robua says, hey guys. So
hey.
Thanks for popping in. And Papa Hud's, that I think so far out of all the Golden Books that I have checked out over the years, Sunbird Legacy, despite its ending kind of shit in the bed, there at the very, it's still very.
It's great build up. It's definitely one of the best. I'm still gonna say probably Sword of Skeletor is probably my favorite of the Golden Book stories of the, not the hardcover like Tila's Secret and River of Ruin, but of like the main Golden Book lineup. Sword of Skeletor, because I feel like the Summer Legacy is like it's its own entity. Like it's
it's kind of it's in its own class.
Yeah, much like the hardcover collection is too. It's in its own class, and you got the soft cover like smaller books too. It's Golden Books, man. Like they had I would love to talk to someone who worked with them at that time and ask them what their thinking was of like, we have this bigger Golden Books hardcover, then we have these smaller ones.
Well,
then we have ones that come with records.
You think about it, it's got to be sort of accommodating to the age described, that wide range that was appealing to the kids that were watching Filmation. So it's like, oh, let's have these smaller books that don't have as many words, shorter stories, cater to more of a bit of a younger audience, and then those kids that know how to read, maybe give them something a little more they can sink their teeth.
Yeah, but the pictures are minimal and there's a little bit more dialogue, but not heavy, heavy reading. Like you got paragraphs, broken up, some dialogue mixed in there as well.
Yeah.
So I'm sure but it's brilliant strategy because it was a wide. I mean, I loved them all. I couldn't read. It's just pretty much just looking at the pictures. It's He-Man. I don't give a shit.
He still can't.
No, I still can't read. I can't finish anything. Comic books, yes. Books, no.
So that was the premiere chat stuff. Moving on to some of the comments that we got. Starting off here with the man of the hour that actually recommended this, Benjamin Winfrey, saying thank you. Hey, thank you for making that suggestion.
I hope you enjoyed our breakdown of it, and even though our lackluster feelings towards the ending were, they are.
I think the feelings towards the end were justified because there could have been more to that. It's like,
but it's a great story overall.
It's a fantastic story. Yeah,
beautiful artwork. So I hope you thank you for taking time to suggest that. We encourage anyone listening to us to throw out suggestions for episodes, mini comics, books, whatever. But thank you, Benjamin, for taking time to suggest that, and we just hope we did it justice to your benefit.
Turtwig 202. I got a bunch of original Earl Norm covers for various books, including a Savage Sword cover. That's always badass to hear.
Yeah, he did a lot of the covers too. Like, so there's a between him and Joe Jusko, those two did like some of the best covers, like consistently. Like Earl did the best Conan covers. Even though there's some other great covers done by other artists, but Earl, you can tell that okay, this is Earl's work every single time.
Yeah, Earl was a league of his own. Like, clear. That's why, like, the posters that came with the Master Universe magazine. Those are ones. His art in that is the shit that I want to seek out, throw in a frame because they're fucking beautiful.
See, why isn't that in a live action movie? Why is it all just this cosplay bullshit?
Hey, no, don't go back on the tangent. Gray Skull Cannon saying butterfly demons. Yeah, that was trippy. That was not something you would expect in something geared towards kids, which once again just proves that that period of time. You think about mini comics. You think about Golden Books. You think about other properties that were around at this time and the messages that they sent, positive ones. But some of the imagery that you would get within is shit that you're like, wow, that is very brave and bold of them to do in that time period for something that's geared towards children, which that's what makes us elder millennials and prior a different breed of character because of the shit that we grew up with.
Yeah, not a bunch of pussies.
Papa Hut 69. What are your thoughts on animated G.I. Joe movie? Oh boy. Fuck, man. Like, it has its problems. We talk a lot about the whole thing with Cobra Commander and turning into the snake and everything, and that's kind of I don't really like that at all. But as a kid,
oh my god, as a kid,
when it came on TV and they split it up into different parts, but they'd run it as a marathon. I was there. I was watching it. I had my G.I. Joes playing on the old couch, and it had in between the cushions there was like this little spot in there, and I pretended this was like a cave of doom, and we're just throwing guys down in there, and they're gone forever or whatever. And then I'd pull the cushions out a little bit. It's like, no, there's actually tunnels in here. So I'm like squeezed in between the cushions and like moving my Joes around and creating little stories, all while this is playing in the background because I'd already seen it a couple times over. And Tyler and I were fortunate enough a few years back to actually go and see a screening of this in theaters when they were doing like Fathom event kind of shit. And that was an absolute blast to just sit there and watch it again. You got characters that you didn't see in the original series that you catch glimpses of. You're like, yeah. So there's just so much aspects to it, but it does have its faults, and there's no denying that.
It's mainly just, because as a kid, I had no knowledge of Cobra Commander's origins in the comics or anything else. So that, like, seeing that, like, oh, so this is where he comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought into that for years, and I also loved Serpentor, even though my alliance, like, even as a kid, was a bit more towards Cobra Commander. But I loved Serpentor as a child, like at very early ages. Like, I just thought he was such an amazing looking character. Now I'll say fuck him. But it's a beautifully animated movie. Great action sequences. Larry Houston with the opening animated sequences.
The intro alone is.
I listen to that when I work out, man. I get fucking pumped when I listen to that working out. The introduction of the Renegades. You know, Mercer being one of my absolute favorite Joes of all time, and then the Rawhides with Chuckles, Tunnel Rat, Big Lob, Jinx, and Law and Order, and Falcon. And even though the Cobra concept makes no fucking sense, but the visuals of Globulus, Nemesis, Enforcement, Python, and the Royal Guards, they all look amazing.
Plus, you have the voice work of Burgess Meredith in there too,
and Don Johnson as Falcon.
Yeah, Don Johnson.
Yeah, and it's a blast. It looks great. Great music in it.
It sucks that because of killing off Optimus in the Transformers movie, they didn't want to take the chance in this. So,
well, I just blame them for not having a better knowledge of what their fan base is into, as opposed to just it was okay to kill off characters in the comic books, which they did and stuck to it. And that was after the movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
There were very few characters would die, but very few would die that were like major characters. Like up until I forgot what issue it is, but it's during this particular war and overseas, and the Saw Viper like mows down a lot of characters from Doc, Quick Kick, I think Crankcase, and a bunch of others. And I think Sneak Peek gets killed by a Range Viper, and around the same time frame too, trying to save a boy from a Frag Viper and a Range Viper. They're all so and they stay dead. Like there's no coming. Like the only character that supposedly died and came back was Cobra Commander. And for people who don't know, like he's taken over by one of the Crimson Guards, Fred 7 of the Crimson Guards, like shoots him in the back because Cobra Commander decides I don't want to do this anymore, and decides that his relationship with the son means more to him at that moment, and he gets shot in the back, and he's put to rest by Raptor and this Crimson Guardsman who takes over the mantle because no one knows what it looks like. And he continues on as Cobra Commander up until a certain point, and then the real one comes back.
Okay.
So, and I buy that, even though it's like, yeah, he's shot in the back, but he's saved by other Crimson Guardsmen who nourish him back, and when he's ready to take back over, he pretty much does in everybody that turned against him. Dr. Mindbender, Zartan, Firefly, and drops a fucking volcano on them.
Fuck, all right.
And some of them survive, a lot of them don't.
Okay. This is some of the stuff I need to check out, and we're not going to divulge too much information here.
But the G.I. Joe movie, yes, it's a great fucking movie. I love it, but I don't accept like the whole Cobra Law thing. Even though I even had a poster that I think it was Devil's Due at the time, I think, or maybe it was Image, had released of the 4 characters from Cobra Law in this beautiful poster. Me and my brother each had one: Nemesis, Enforcer, Globulus, Python, and the Royal Guard, all in this poster. Beautiful poster. And so I don't subscribe to them as being part of the mythology, but they look fucking amazing, and I still love them. I remember seeing the 3-pack of them at Hills, along with the 3-pack of the Renegades at Hills, and not being able to buy them, of course.
Yeah, of course.
But it was, oh my God, who are they? And I didn't know who they were. I just thought, oh my God, it's a 3-pack of these G.I. Joes. Who are these guys? And wanting to buy them. But the movie gave us some brand new characters, some kick-ass characters, and maybe someday me and Nathan can go back and cover that.
That's what I was gonna say. We're not gonna divulge too much information about it right now, but if you are a fan of some G.I. Joe, stay tuned. You'll wanna know more about it, because knowing is half the battle. So stay tuned. Terrell White, I love the Comet Warriors as a kid, but I think I only had Rock on. I can't remember if I had Stone Dar or not.
I had Stone Dar, didn't have Rock on, and I wish I had Rock on as a kid.
Having one is better than not having any at all.
Absolutely. But it's good to know that you gave the Comet Warriors some love by owning one of the two.
Yeah. And then, I saved that one for that. So that was the comments that we had on all that stuff. Tyler, let's go ahead. Let's put this one in the can. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. I hope everyone is excited. If you're in the Cincinnati area in September, to come see us at Mo2 Fest. Once again, link is in the description below if you want some more details on that. Let us know your thoughts down below about the Slave City mini comic, Tell Two Cities Filmation episode. You like them? Are you a 7 out of 10 James Eatock kind of guy or gal? It's probably mostly guys because not many women watch the show. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we're not going to pretend.
But make sure you like this video. Leave us a comment, as I said, down below. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and do that. And until later, let the power return.
It just cost me $6,000.
What? $6,000.
And one kind of like, what are you going to do about it, asshole?
I just know this is from the Pacino prank calls.
Me too, because I've never watched the movie. But
is it fucking Glenn Ross or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, just think of the prank call. It just cost me $6,000. What? $6,000.
What you're hired for is to help us, not to fuck us up.
I want to buy a pack of gum and show you how to chew it.
Did you ever take a dump and make you feel like you slept for 12
I'm going to have your job, shithead.
Oh, my God. I told Nathan, I said, I listened to this one, and I still get joy out of listening to this old-ass prank calls.
And that was like fucking 20 years ago.
And I came across one where he calls a guy in Ireland, and I have laughed every single time where I got tears running down. I listened to it at work on one of my breaks just for the hell of it. I get out of my car, I've got tears on my face because I was laughing so fucking hard.
You had to send me a link to that one.
Yeah, it's. I listened to it again earlier this evening just because I just felt like it, and I'm still laughing hysterically. Just because.
Awesome. And it's just using clips from Glengarry Glen Ross.
That's all it is. It's the same clips I've heard in a million other Al Pacino prank calls that were done decades ago. But I just clicked on this. Oh my God, this one's just. I'll send it to you when we're done.
Maybe I should just watch this fucking. It's only an hour and 40 minutes long, so
yeah. I mean, I've watched clips of the movie just out of curiosity.
It's on Prime Video and it's free on YouTube. Maybe we should just go ahead and.
Yeah. But a movie about real estate, I'm like, oh my God, do I really want to?
Yeah, but all of those quotable things.
Yeah, which I watched the scene where most of that dialogue comes from when he's dressing down Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
and that's when he's dishing out most of those prank call insults is during that whole sequence. So I'm not watching it with the serious. I'm just watching him cuss and threaten Kevin Spacey.
Not to bring your good times down. There was a notification I had on my phone. I guess fucking Spielberg and Martin Scorsese. There's a Cape Fear show.
Oh, I watched the trailer for it the other day. It looks.
Oh, okay. I was not aware of it until I saw that notification. So right on. Why? Once again, why didn't we say everything we needed to say with the original movie and then the remake that we got with De Niro? That should be enough, right?
I feel like making it into a series, sure, you could do that, but it doesn't look good at all. All they're doing is we're making Amy Adams the Nick Nolte character, even though we're husbands of
so okay, all right, yeah, okay.
And even though Javier Bardem can play a complete fucked up psycho. That trailer, I'm just saying, he smiles an awful lot. Whereas De Niro's take on the character and Robert Mitchum, they're not walking around smiling all the time. They're complete. Again, it's a trailer, but maybe it's just a bad trailer. But also, I don't think Amy Adams is a good actress at all.
Yeah, we just gotta. I'm sorry, we have to just stop doing. We need more stuff like how we had with like a True Detective season 1. More types of those things. More like, yeah, it could be. I'm not saying a rehash, but yeah, it could be something that is.
Well, if you were going to put it in that same tone, which I feel like, look, Scorsese's version of Cape Fear pushed the envelope to the max in the most tasteful way, and a series where you really could expand upon that outside of a 2-hour movie, yeah, that could really work. This doesn't look that way.
No,
this
but
just
what
looks like, no.
But what I'm saying is, we don't need something like a TV series based off and Cape Fear. We've already had 2 movies.
Yeah.
I'm saying I want more stuff that's something like a True Detective season 1, or just more
these gritty cop shows where the people are flawed.
Just more, and I'm going to put this in quotations, more original ideas, because obviously it's going to have influence and be inspired by things that have come.
Well, and I think that was just lightning in the bottom, much like all these things we talk about and celebrate.
Yeah.
Because they've done 3 other seasons and people don't give a fuck about any of them.
Yeah. It's like, I just want more Rust and Coal, man.
Yeah.
But even then, at this point, it's like, if we brought those characters back, it probably wouldn't be the same.
No,
it's like you
because
said, it's lightning in a bottle.
One and done.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a good. I mean, just like a lot of things, when they make a giant hit, they're not intending for it to be a sequel. They're trying to make one great outing, and some of the best films. It was lightning in a bottle. They're not planning down the road for 4 or 5 sequels and franchises and merchandising down that point. They're just trying to make one good movie.
And it's like I told you about Ryan Coogler's Sinners, like big hit, original-ish idea. And Warner Brothers is like, oh, we want to do a sequel. And he's like, I don't want to do one. No, thanks. Because he's of that mentality of, well, let's just leave that kind of thing just a one and done. But, Warner Brothers will probably do Sinners 2, different cast.
Well, knowing they can't fucking release a decent superhero movie to save their fucking life. Like, yeah, anything that makes a moderate amount of money and is well received. Oh, my God, it's a franchise.
Well, I think they're kind of all doing that at this point, just based on.
Well, they're all desperate because it's just a table of hacks, pinching pennies left and right. They're not movie makers. They're just watching the bottom line, and that's it.
Yeah.
They don't.
Anyway, I don't. Here we are getting on that tangent again. We can't do that. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for your time.
What the fuck?
I had to come. I mean, that was a massive, big gas bubble of fart in my head.
Yeah, I'm definitely adding some fart effect to
you
that.
should. When I'm just sitting there, just staring off, make it a big airy fart, like a Rocko's Modern Life fart.
Or I'll just put you in a side-by-side comparison with
now you're having one
with Reamer in basketball, where he's just staring at.
Oh yeah, staring at that bird.
Yeah, there we go. Shut up, Reamer. Take 2.
care.
Your loud music and your Dan Fogelberg, your Zima, hula hoops, and Pac-Man video games. Don't you see? People today have attention spans that can only be measured in nanoseconds.